All states are subject to the Voting Rights Act. Texas was added to Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act in 1975 because at that time we were not printing ballots in Spanish. But what the Supreme Court emphasized was a fundamental tenet of the United States of America. And that is, all states have equal rights. And it is unheard of and highly dubious to say one state is subject to certain rules that all the other states are not subject to. And what the Supreme Court found is that these 9 states that were subject to the Section 5 pre-clearance requirements of the Voting Rights Act, they were subject to that because of a formula that was written 40 years ago that was no longer applicable to the times in which we live. The Voting Rights Act protects the sanctity of the election process or any changes to the election process by the fact that the Department of Justice or individual complainants can go into court and get an injunction to stop any voting procedure that the courts consider to be illegal, in violation of the Constitution, or in violation of the Voting Rights Act. So there are active, easy legal remedies in place without having to go through the unconstitutional methodology of requiring pre-clearance. It is a fact that we've had far more instances of voter fraud than we have had instances of people who were denied the ability to vote because of voter ID. You have an opinion about this. I have an opinion about this.
Right.
As you brought up, the Democrats have an opinion about this. The Republicans have an opinion about this.
Right.
And that's part of what democracy is all about. But here's the reality.
But the question is there any consequence for humans?
And I'm going to get there. Well, no, here's the issue, and that is there's only one opinion in this country that matters on this issue. And that's the opinion of the United States Supreme Court. The court said that the Indiana voter ID law was constitutional, that it satisfied all the strictures of the United States Constitution, despite the fact there was not a single instance in the history of the state of Indiana where voter impersonation could have been prevented by voter ID. Because the United States Supreme Court said the integrity of the election process is so important that methods like voter ID help secure greater confidence and trust in the election system. There is a real example of an election that impacted this nation, where the election was won based upon illegal votes, and that is Al Franken in Minnesota. Al Franken won by about 300 votes. It's well known, it's undisputed, that there were about 1,500 illegally cast votes by felons.
You're going to say felon, that he won the felon vote, aren't you?
According to studies that were shown.
I see where this is going.
Had those 1,500 votes been disallowed, then Al Franken would not have won. Norm Coleman would have won. So not only did an election turn on this, but also Ted Cruz's filibuster turned on this. Because in the United States Senate, every single vote was needed in order for Obamacare to pass. Al Franken's vote was one of those votes that was needed for Obamacare to pass.
So without felons,
so without voter fraud, Obamacare would not exist. But
It's a theory I haven't heard yet. This is the breaking news.
not exactly my crowd.